I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is a review for John Beckett. Thank you so much for that. If anyone wants to request pretty much any type of video or review or movie topic, whatever, you can either join me on my Patreon or request it directly through my PayPal. But yeah, this is a Patreon request, and it's for American Samurai from 1992. And I liked it. It's flawed, but I liked it for what it was. It's pretty much Bloodsport with blades. Now I know that if you get the DVD in the US, it's very heavily cut. I saw it on YouTube, and the cut I saw was pretty damn violent. So if that is the edited version, I don't know what the uncut version is, because the version I saw, at least, is pretty fucking violent. I mean, it's during one fight, someone bites off a piece of a guy's face, someone gets their head cut off, and you see a wide shot of the head lying there. You have, what was it, one guy's hand gets cut off. Yeah, I thought it was pretty damn violent myself, but yeah, if there's a much more violent cut, A, I would like to see it, and B, I'd be very curious the differences. But this is directed by Sam Firstenberg, who directed American Ninja 1 and 2, Avenging Force, and others. It stars David Bradley for American Ninja 3, 4, and 5. Among other films. Now, David Bradley, I don't love him as an action star because a lot of his performances are rather dry, so to speak. Not even so to speak, they're rather dry of a fucking actor. Just needs some fucking water just to talk about David Bradley. But there are times where I could deal with him in American Ninja 3. I could deal with him in this movie. I do think his best film is one called Hard Justice. If you like B-movie action films, go watch Hard Justice. That is a prison film with a lot of crazy action, heavily inspired by John Woo, which to me is a plus. So you want to see John Woo style action, and Hard Justice is a lot of fun. I really do recommend that. To me, it's easily David Bradley's best film. But this one is a backstory. His parents died in a plane crash. He's trained by a master played by John Fujioka, the master who trained Michael Dudikoff in the first American Ninja. So I wonder if Sam Firstenberg did that on purpose. American Ninja, John Fujioka trains him. Gonna have the same guy train this guy. Instead of ninja, he's a samurai. And Mark Dacascos is in this, who is the son, the actual son of that master, and he hates David Bradley's character. He hates that, why does this guy, why is he getting this sword, and why you treat him so well, and he's jealous of him, and the masses going, well, you're being a dick and you're being a fuckhead and you're getting fucking Yakuza tattoos and don't be an asshole and don't be a fuck face. Well, he doesn't say it that way, but I'm just reading between the lines, as they say. You know how they say, read between the lines? He's reading between the lines. I'm just reading between the lines on that. Mark Dacascos, I love as an actor. I love as a performer. I love Drive. That desperately needs a Blu-ray in the US. Why the fuck do we not have a Blu-ray of Drive already from 1997? Why is there not a fucking Blu-ray of Drive? What the fuck? Crying Freeman I liked. Only the Strong is good. I reviewed Kickboxer 5. I think this is even before this is before he did Double Dragon and Kickboxer 5. It's a fairly early role for, and by the way, this is produced by Canon. Almost forgot, this is produced by Canon when they were on the way out. And Mark Dacascos, I think his acting at times is so. There's even a moment that he fucking hisses at David Bradley early on. I just watch it, Mark, he's done better. He's done better as a villain, and he's done better as an actor. And he doesn't get a lot of chances to use his talent in martial arts. This is more David Bradley's movie. I do wish, even though I was fine with David Bradley, I think Mark should have been the star. I think at this point in his career, he works better as a lead hero than a villain. I think he needed a few more years to get the rust off the acting to then play a villain. But here, at this early point in his life and his career, I could tolerate him because I like Mark Dacascos, and I do think later on he's fine with the look and his demeanor. But just the first couple scenes of him talking and being pissed off and fucking hissing, I think it's the hissing that got me. Like, you really don't have Mark hiss at the hero. like what? You don't do that? Phew. Maybe think of fucking Kung Pao into the wee-oo, 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 wee-oo. He doesn't do that, but wee-oo, wee-oo. For all you two remember Kung Pao. Wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. But anyway, I don't think that's on. That needs a fucking Blu-ray too. But yeah, where the fuck I was going at? Oh, Mark Dacascos, he's done better, acting wise and so forth. But I do like the Bloodsport with Blades idea, and I did. If this is an edited version, it was pretty fucking violent to me. When these people break into David Bradley's place, he breaks a guy's arm, he makes a guy stab his own leg, his sword gets taken. He's also a journalist. He goes with this lady to Turkey. The lady's a photographer. There's been these deaths made by the same sword. And then when they get to Turkey, there's this underground fighting. Bloodsport with Blaze. He even meets a guy who's pretty much Donald Gibbs' character from Bloodsport. Only this guy's more of a, he's got the facial hair, the body build, but he's more of a cowboy type of guy. And or was he Australian? I'm not sure what his accent was. But he's got a big fucking Crocodile Dundee type of knife. But he befriends David Bradley's character. And yeah, it's silly with some of the way people look during these battles. I mean, one guy is a reject Conan the Barbarian Deathstalker type. And then you have this other guy who's blonde guy with a ponytail. But it did make me I thought it was fun, and those two fight, and that's when again the Conan guy gets his face bitten off and an arm cut off and fucking stabbed and impaled. I'm like, wow, this is pretty fucking violent. Okay, I'm down for that. At least more violent compared to other movies of this ilk. Like, Bloodsport is a better movie, but technically this is bloodier than Bloodsport. At least the version I saw. Because you saw some blood in Bloodsport, but you didn't have arms being cut off and pieces of faces being bitten off and people getting stabbed, and one gets like a sword to the neck You know, that old classic where you have the blade, but you have a hole cut into it. So you do like this. So it looks like it's in the neck. Sort of the arrow of the head technique. And you see quite a few fights. And they're not as well choreographed compared to, say, Bloodsport. But the blood and gore... When I say gore, I don't want to make it sound like it's a fucking Jason Goes to Hell type of gore, but it's bloodier than an average flick. Again, at least the version I saw. And David Bradley doesn't want, but he has to fight, and he gets in some fights. And in the fights, I didn't mind this film because I thought it went at a decent enough pace. It didn't seem like it was too long of lollygagging before another fight happened. Whether it be Conan versus Blonde Boy, or David Bradley versus this guy who looks like a fucking Viking. Or Marta Castros versus the wannabe Donald Gibb, which he don't make it. Or David Bradley fighting Blonde Boy with the ponytail. Or Mark fights this one guy who's got a knife on his long piece of like ponytail hair. He's got like a knife attached to it, which I thought was an interesting idea. And then Mark decaps his ass. So I would have Mark Dacascos as the lead, and maybe have David Bradley as the villain. I think with his tone of voice and his kind of dry, I don't know, that sort of demeanor that he's not, how do I put it? His face is not that expressive. Like he doesn't express emotions that much. So I do think he would have worked better. Like switch the lead. Like Mark is the hero and David Bradley's the bad guy. I do think that would have worked out better. I really do. That's issue number one. And issue number two, the final fight is the worst fucking fight. I don't know what the fuck happened. There has to be some story behind this. There has to be. Because it looks as if, let me put it this way. If you found out, or if I found out, if we found out together that David Bradley and Mark Dacascos hated each other, or David Bradley had a problem with Mark, and they don't want to be in the same scene together, or David Bradley didn't want to be in the same frame, because during this last fight, it's David Bradley doing stuff, and then Mark doing stuff. Then David Bradley doing stuff, and then Mark doing stuff. Never the twins shall meet. All the other fights were these wide shots where they're going back and forth. All the other fights were wide shots. The only wide shots in this fight is the very beginning and the very end when David Bradley's beating him. Like cuts his feet. Doesn't cut the feet off, which that would have been cool, but cuts the feet. Because Mark jumped and he cuts his feet. I just find that very, like, what the hell? Something is up here. Something is going on. You don't have all your other fights, you know, two people, okay, imagine these two. Two people, but then your final fight be, like, this is Mark Dacascos. And then David Bradley. Then Mark. Then David. This was like, it cuts to Mark doing this. Then it cuts to David Bradley doing this. That's the majority of that fight. And this is your last fight. Imagine the fight in Bloodsport. If you had all those fights and then Van Damme does this, and then Bouillon, you see him do this, and you never see wide shots. Like, imagine how much you would lose if there were no wide shots of the two in the same frame. A shit ton. A shit ton. So, I like the idea of Bloodsport with Blaze. I like how violent it was. David Bradley, I'm okay with. Mark, I think he's done better. Like I said, I think the role should have been switched. But it went at a fast enough pace. I wasn't bored. It was a decent time waster. But that end fight was rather lame. But if you don't believe me, the movie's on YouTube. Feel free to watch it, or feel free to watch the end fight again. Or maybe John, I still hope you do reviews again. I really do. I think you have a lot to offer with your knowledge of action films. I just really would love to hear your opinion on some of these movies, man. Because he did videos a long time ago. Sadly, he stopped. Probably busy with life. I understand that. But I really enjoyed his stuff. I'd be really curious. He's known as the Fly Ninja 1 on YouTube. Is it just me? The ending to this where there has to be some fucking story behind it. There has to. Otherwise, I just hard for me to believe the Sam Firstenberg, who did American Ninja and American Ninja 2, and the other fight scenes were fine, and then you get to this, it's like, why would you film it that way? There's no wide shots where they're both swinging the sword at each other, and one's over here, one's over here. You would have that in any fucking movie, for any fucking final fight, and not the video game. What the fuck happened? So yeah, I don't know. I hope there's a. If someone meets Sam Firstenberg, ask him about that. Please do. I'd be curious. And for some reason, for some reason, I want to say it wasn't his fault. It was David Bradley's fault. Because David Bradley, the thing about David Bradley, I'm going to be honest, he seems like a guy who would have a bug up his ass. Because he's the only person, well, not the only, but this guy, he's disappeared to thin air. No one can find the guy. At least Jeff Speedman, he doesn't, I wish he would do interviews about the films he did, but he has his school and he's busy. You know, he was, sadly at that point had throat cancer. Thankfully he beat it. But he's doing his school and his teaching. He's busy with that. And he did do a written interview for that one book. The Good, the Bad, the Action book, which the only good thing to that was the interviews. So at least he did stuff like that. David Bradley, though, disappeared to thin fucking air. He seems like a guy who just... Hey, if David Bradley ever sees this, and if I'm wrong, please let me know. Go ahead, even if it's like, this fuckhead with Melio hat is wrong, I'm still alive, I'm still here, ask me some questions. Please, I would love to know. I would love to know. I don't know if it was American Ninja 4, like were there issues between Michael Dudikoff and David Bradley? Yeah, I don't know. With that said, if you like these type of films, I think it's worth a watch. It was still fun for what it was, although flawed. But yeah, the fight scenes and how bloody they were, I enjoyed that stuff. I like the idea. David Bradley, I mean, I could deal with him compared to some of the shit of today's age. Sad to say. He did pretty decently with the fight scenes. I don't think he was that bad at all at them. Like I said, the lead and villain should have been switched. The acting's not top notch, no. And the last fight is like, what the fuck? With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.